Please take it away, Umbra.
So, yes, just to reframe the scene a bit. The Dearborn Combine wants some reparations for that hunting accident, and as such has requested a formal sword fight with someone from. I think it just specified like someone from. Probably like someone from Housefall. What was requested, because this is apparently how people settle things, fighting. So that's how we're going to do it.
And I've decided that because Ceres is the one responsible for that hunting accident, she should be the one to wield the sword in this confrontation. I imagine this is probably taking place outside of the Fall House, like in the large open courtyard that kind of doubles as a trading yard.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, makes sense. So I think we see CH4 and a contingent of Dearborn troops with them, or with him. There's keeping the silence, and I think CH4 probably like arrived in his frame, like the what was described as like just a larger version of him last time. But like when he sees that the fight is going to be like person to person, what I think happens is that it just like opens up and he's just in there. So he jumps out and detaches himself. We see like the light goes out in the head on the frame and just lights up at the same time. His little human body. And jumps out, sword at the ready.
We see Ceres getting strapped into her armor. It's nothing fancy. It's practical and protective. And her father is standing on the steps of the estate looking very stern and displeased, but that's kind of his normal, so. But her brothers are also standing nearby, probably making sure, one, that things don't get out of hand, and two, that she doesn't die. She finishes getting strapped into her armor. She unsheaths her sword and steps forward.
Yeah.
Who is better with the sword?
Who is better with the sword? I think from the start, it's probably Ceres. I think CH4 is programmed to be adaptive.
Okay.
So maybe we'll see, but it doesn't start out with the upper hand.
All right, then I get to begin. So before, we've seen that Ceres, her fighting style is far more reactive and defensive. And this is no change. It is actually very similar to how she pilots Sophitia. So we don't see her launch into an attack, in part because even though she dislikes the fact the landowners are here, she really has no reason to want to cut CH4 down. So I think she walks forward and she holds her sword out and she starts to circle CH4 and touches the tip of her sword to his. What do you say to me?
Yeah, he holds out the sword and meets yours and says, "My lady, I always appreciated our dances." He just locks eyes with you. And then I think we get that for like a few moments. We get the almost like Western film, because the two characters looking at each other. Some somewhat dramatic music in the background. And then I think you're starting to get a read that like your style is defensive, just from like seeing how you hold yourself. So I think he's let's see. I think there is one. I think that I'm thinking that. So I think what he's going to do is just to like test you a bit. I think he's just going to launch out into this all-out attack. This first like trying to like swing your sword out of the way, and then like trying to get past your defense. So he launches sustained attack with puts his entire weight behind it. Does the series give ground readily, or do you hold back?
I give ground readily. I have no reason to need to hold my ground. I'm just trying to avoid your blows at this point. So I think we see you with your heavy swinging attacks, and we see Sirius kind of dancing and jumping back away and kind of leading you deeper into her estate grounds. And let's see. You actually thrust perilously close to my face. Do you cut me, and if so, where?
Yeah, I think there is the cut. I think there's a cut like across your cheek and like up over your nose and like up on like along your forehead. Like a diagonal swipe like that. And I think with that he pulls back, and maybe we get like there's like a moment where he freezes, and he's like stands there for a bit. We get that like splash of blood. Maybe like all the other colors fade away. It's just like white and black and some red for a moment. And let's see, with that. I think with that, with the moment of pause, with his other hand, he grabs hold of yours and draws you in close. Do you let your sword drop, or do you shove me away and fight on?
I shove you away. I think I actually kick you away with my boot and free my wrist from your hand. And I use that moment to thrust at you, and you barely turn it. A fraction slower, and you would have been cut through. Does it exhilarate you or chill you?
I think it's closer to exhilarating. He just says, "Oh, fascinating. And let's see. Then I think we go back to circling again. Like we separate and we like go around each other once more. Like a little bit of blood on CH4's sword as he touches tips with yours again. And what do you say to me?
We see Siri's face with the cut across it, and like that means like the lower 2/3 of her face is now streaked with blood. And her eyes narrow as she looks at you, and she says, "You have a lot of nerve, demanding reparations. When you come to my planet and rape and pillage my land." Let's see. And then I touch you, cutting you across the rib or along the arm. Do you withdraw and run, or do you rejoin the fight?
I think what happens is we see like a bunch of wires and pneumatics like come off and break. We see this long cut along the side of his arm. And he backs off for a moment, and then he holds up his sword in the other hand. I think it might be his sword hand, so like hops it over to the other one, then just cuts his arm off. Holds his sword up with his other hand. He is not ready to stop this fight just yet. So let's see. I think it might be time to close this. However, I think we're getting to a very dramatic point. So let's see. So we get this like one-handed fight for a moment, and you get the sense that this machine is not going to give up. So the fight goes on, and it rages for a bit between the two of us, but eventually you get your sword's point well between us inside my guard. If you drive it home, you'll kill me. Do you drive it home, or do you allow me to step back and recover myself?
That is interesting, because we've had a conversation about what killing you means.
Mm-hmm.
And right now, Ceres is not in a joking mood. She drives it home. I think we get that moment where there's like the swiping of both swords, and we know, and then everything stops. We know someone has been cut, but we're not sure who. And then we get the shot of CH4's back, and we see the tip of Ceres' sword sticking out of it. And then she reaches upward and cuts all the way up through you. And you just sort of fall back.
Yeah, I think there's like a shower of sparks as the blade pierces through the steel. And he lets go of the sword and like falls onto her back.
She's walking away. Her sword's down now. It's probably covered in like dark oil. And she says, "The Dearborn are not welcome here."
Okay. Cool.
That was perfect. I love it. I feel like this changes what I wanted to do. Tuck, did you have an idea?
I'm not entirely sure.